When my mom was a little girl, their family had 13 children, and they lived out in a holler in West Virginia. And at one point, there was no food in the house. No food at all. And my grandmother, her mom, put a pot of water on the stove, and their stove was a wood burning stove, not electric like we have. So she put a pot of water on the stove, and she kept telling the children, "See that pot? You're to pray that God fills it. God will make a way. He'll bring what's going to go in the pot to feed this family." And then she went on. And so my mom was talking about how her and her brothers and sisters were just praying and waiting, wondering when God was going to bring this food to put in this pot, you know. And the day was going on, and they'd come back and they'd look, and Grandma just kept adding more water to the pot so it wouldn't boil down. And she kept reminding them, "You got to keep praying. God will bring food to put in the pot," you know. And finally, when it was getting dusk time, they could see lights coming down the road through the holler, working through the trees and making its way all the way down to them. And it came into the yard. And it was a couple of trucks. And they just started bringing boxes and boxes of food into the house and putting it on the floor. And my mom's mom, so my great-grandmother, had heard from God in her prayer closet that Frankie needs food. She was praying and she heard Frankie needs food. So she immediately had got up and started calling family and saying, "If you have any food to spare, put it in a bag. We'll be by your place at such and such time to pick it up. I know God said Frankie needs food," you know. And she called as many people as she knew. And around that time, she started making her way through, picking things up. And then there was somebody else who had been just recently started going through their canned goods. And anything that was so many years old, they had pulled it and was trying to figure out who they could give it to, because they didn't want to keep it, but somebody else might use it. And so they loaded up all these home canned foods and brought it in. And Mom said there was so much food laid on the floor in these boxes. And she said she remembered looking at them and just like, wow. I mean, stuff they normally didn't get, like apple butter, you know. And she said then it was a moment of what food to eat. It wasn't about God putting food in the pot. Then it was so much food. It's like what food to eat, you know. And I'm sharing that because I know there's a lot of people who are not receiving their SNAP benefits that are wondering, what are we going to eat? What are we going to feed the kids? You know, how are we going to get by? Yeah. Right now is one of those moments, just like my grandmother. You need to be giving it to God. You need to be asking God to lay it on somebody's heart to bring food your way. Open somebody's heart so that they will release the food stamps that we can receive what we need. You know, because yes, I'm one of them. I'm one of them that's not being supplied. I'm not getting my SNAP benefits. You know, but God is always there. He's always there. Sometimes it starts with us realizing there are things we can cut back on. And then other times, like with my grandmother, there wasn't anything to cut back on. There was nothings to give in that room and 13 kids, you know. And in those moments, you hand it over to God and you tell the kids there to do the same. Give it to God. That's all you can do. And wait and keep holding to Him for Him to deliver. And He will. He will. My family has seen it so many times. So many times. Between miraculously supplying food to miraculously healing our body, God will make a way. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel and start screaming, "There's no God. This is awful." You put your confidence in God wholeheartedly. You remind your kids to put their confidence in God. And you keep on. And you wait, trusting, standing in confidence. God has you, and He will supply.